Welcome, I'm the DeadwoodJedi. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Yes, we are on the free-to-play, the Road to Ultra Nightmare. Got my coffee cup right here, and it is day 66. Big day, big day. We got an epic book, we got energy coming tomorrow, and we find ourselves at a bit of a crossroad. And I know this is a spot that you have all felt yourselves in as you played this game, because we hit a big objective, right? We hit that 3-key Ultra Nightmare, but now the question is, what do we do next? I mean, what is next after this point? There's so much to do, right? I mean, obviously I have things to, focus on, like Doom Tower, Arena, my 3v3 teams, my just champions leveling up, grinding dungeons, getting higher in Ultra Nightmare, Hydra. But obviously we hit that big milestone. What's next becomes a really important question, because this is where I think a lot of people quit the game. It's like, I've grinded, I've done this one thing, but now it's like, well, what do I do next? Do I just keep grinding? Is that all I'm supposed to do? Get more gear, get more stuff? And I think the answer, I think the thing is, you gotta find something. Gotta find something to focus your attention on. And so that's really what we gotta decide. And I'm gonna try and decide that by the end of this video. What is it that I wanna focus my attention on? Now, obviously, me and YST had that fun little competition, and I guarantee we're going to come up with something else to hit as well. But whatever that is, doesn't mean that's the only thing I need to focus on, right? And I think having a second goal is probably going to be important. So I kind of want to go through my account, figure out what I want to do next, what's going to be most beneficial to me, and then hopefully that'll give you guys that same kind of guidance of, like, when you hit that goal point, what is it that you should be focusing on next, and kind of help you figure that out as well. So that's what I want to talk about today. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. So I think the first thing we should be doing in order to figure out what we're going to be talking about is looking at our champions, figuring out what we have, right? We need to kind of take stock of where we are in our account right now. Obviously, we're hitting 3-key Ultra Nightmare. That's great, but we're not hitting 1-key Nightmare yet. So that means I'm not efficiently using all 4 of my keys. So continuing to improve my clan boss team is a must-do thing. I have to do that, because until I can use all 4 keys efficiently, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? So that's going to be a continual thing of constantly trying to improve and build up my clan boss team. Is that possible with what I have right now? Well, obviously, incrementally, yes, right? I can continue to improve the defense, the HP, the damage of all my champions, and through that process get to a place where we're doing more damage overall. But that's going to be a pretty long process, probably. This team is kind of capped out. First off, I know my team. It's a 2-1 ratio team. I don't have a lot of damage dealers outside of Rhonda in the squad, period. So there's not a lot of potential for raw damage in this team. We've already kind of maxed out the debuffs that we can put on the clan boss. Put a toxic set on Valerie. That was kind of a big add, right? We have Venom Mage putting up a bunch. So, and if I watch the run, we're keeping a pretty full debuff bar. It's not all the time, but full enough where I don't really want to mess with that necessarily. So I think if we consider that I don't have better champion options in my squad, and the ones I have are doing a pretty good job right now, the only real way to continue to improve this team is just by getting better gear. And so that's something we want to keep in mind, right? I do have a lot of 5-star pieces, whether that's Venom Mage, whether that's Valerie, even Jareg, Elva, Rhonda even. I have a lot of 5-star pieces. So obviously getting 6-star pieces can be a quick avenue to improve my stats, whether that's damage or defense or HP, whatever survivability I need. That's a good way to do it. Another good way to do that is obviously with my accessories, right? A lot of 5-star accessories, not all of them are rolled up. So rolling those up will obviously do a lot to help me survive longer, right? And that'll be a short-term way to kind of improve this team. And that's one of the things I'll be focusing on, right? Rolling up my accessories for sure, and looking out for gear pieces that are gonna give me a better boost for my team overall. Am I gonna find those? Probably not right now, but over time, definitely, right? That is an evolutionary kind of process. As I farm more gear, whether it's at a higher level or the same level I'm at, I'm gonna get some better pieces. And so I wanna understand the champions I have and kind of pick apart and look, where can I improve their gear? if I look at, let's say Valerie, I have her up right now, right? If I look at her and I go, what are going to be better pieces? Well, I have a 5-star defense glove, no speed on it. So clearly, if I find more defense glove like this with speed, that means I can take speed out of another piece that I have and find something that's going to be more beneficial to my team, right? I have a 5-star defense chest plate, obviously has speed, which is good, but it's only 5 stars. So I know I can bump that up to a 6-star piece, right? We have very little crit rate on her as a whole, 41%. So I also know that if I build her crit rate higher, that can give me more benefits as well. So that's something I can look out for. If I look at her total stats, I can look and see 34,000 HP, probably about as high as I want to go. She's my stun target. If I build that up any higher, she's only going to take more damage from the stun itself based on her max HP. Her defense at 3,500 is pretty good for this team, but again, deal with the stun. The one thing I can do to improve that, if I'm not bumping her HP, I can bump her defense. And so that's one of the things I want to look at. So for her build, I'm thinking we can improve the crit rate, we can improve the defense, and try to maintain the same speed and HP level. So those are things I'm going to be looking at. Obviously, we have an HP banner, 4-star, but it has the speed we need. So if I can find speed in another piece, then I can replace that banner with a defensive banner. If I can find a banner that's better than this one, then I can replace that banner, right? And that's going to be an easy way to kind of improve our damage. And so I'm going to I want to look at all the pieces that I have on this and see where can I improve things, right? We've got a Fortitude helmet, which is great, and an Immortal shield, which is great, but they're not a set. So if I can find something that gives me the same stats or better in a set piece to finish it out, then all of a sudden that's going to give me a nice little boost, whether it's another 10% defense or it's another 15% HP. HP, of course, I'll have to be careful with, right? Remember this. And then I have a weapon that's not rolled. Now, I don't think I need to roll this because what don't I want? More HP. What do I need? Not attack. Obviously, it'll help. It won't hurt. It's not something I need. So this is one of my lower priority pieces. Recognizing that Valerie doesn't do raw damage very high, improving this is not going to do a lot for my team as a whole. But that is definitely a piece that I will replace at some point, right? It basically offers me nothing. I can replace that for something that gives me more speed. It means I can take speed off something else, put a better piece there. Or if I can get something maybe has the same speed, but maybe offers me crit rate, crit damage. Those would be very useful things, or even attack percentage. All those would be useful things that I could take, right? So these are things that I'm looking at when it comes to these champions, and all of them have their own prerequisites, right? With Venom Mage, obviously survivability is the key because I need those debuffs to land. So we need accuracy desperately, and we need that survivability. Anything I can do to improve upon that, the better, right? And that's kind of my priority there. If I can get raw damage though, Venom Mage can do a little bit of damage. Not a great hitter, but better than say Valerie. So building crit rate wouldn't be a bad thing, but it's definitely lowest on my importance list. Jarreg, similar thing, doesn't hit hard. I don't care about the crit rate as much, but what I do care about, he doesn't have any accuracy currently. I would love to get accuracy on him. Having a backup decrease attack champion will help ensure that debuff never falls off and we don't die. And that would be really nice. It would also free me to maybe bring in a different champion instead of Venom Mage if I pick up a better option, right? If I pick up somebody that does a better job of landing decreased defense or as good, but maybe does better raw damage, maybe somebody like a Rosin in the future, even if I have to add another toxic set on somebody, that might be a very beneficial change for us. One debuff we don't have is Weaken. I'm looking at my Elva here and I'm thinking, so much 5-star gear. Again, so much 5-star gear, and we have a broken set again. There's lots of ways to kind of improve this build as we get better stalwart gear, better gear overall, and hopefully build her to be even tankier than she is. She's very tanky right now, almost 50k HP, 35,000 defense or so, right? But I want to get those numbers even higher, and not just for this content, because I also have to recognize where am I using these champions elsewhere, right? I'm using Elva literally everywhere. So if I'm using her everywhere, the speed's pretty good for that. But obviously, the tankier I build her, the more beneficial she's going to be in those other areas, right? Whether we're talking Doom Tower with teams like Bommel or the Griffin, right? Having her be tanky is a good thing. So there's no upper limit on what I want to build on her, and that's a good thing, right? I can continue to improve her kit as we go through. And then of course, Rhonda's kind of in a similar vein with Elva. I use her everywhere, right? And so I do need to balance that though, because she's in my clan boss team, there are kind of minimum levels of defense that I want to maintain on her. Now she's got about 2,600 defense right now, which is decent, but I really want to hit that 3,000 mark. But the problem is I don't want to sacrifice the level of HP she has. In fact, I'd like that to go higher. And I don't want to sacrifice her attack or her crit damage. In fact, I want those to definitely go higher because she's my main damage dealer. Whether we're talking arena, whether we're talking Doom Tower or dungeons or anywhere else, she's my damage dealer. So I don't want to sacrifice too much. And this is going to put kind of a ceiling on my team overall, because until I can either replace her as a damage dealer for those other comps or replace her as a damage dealer for my clan boss team, there's going to be a balance there that I'm going to have to find, and it's going to be a little bit difficult to do. So almost all my best gear goes on Rhonda as a result. Right now I have her built pretty well. I don't really have any complaints, but obviously if I can find any kinds of improvements that are going to improve her defense, her attack, even her HP, I'm going to be going for it, because the ceilings, there is no limit to what I want to do with her. The hard part is I want to do all of it. So at this point, since this team works, I just want to make sure that nothing goes down. Can't lower her defense, lower her HP, or lower her attack. So as long as we're adding to her build, I'm going to be okay with it. But you know, things like actually ascending her gear is going to be a very beneficial thing for me. And I've been spending a little bit of time in Sand Devil to try to do that. Not a lot, still a stupid dungeon, but a little bit, right? And so finding ways to do that, any little ways I can to improve what she has on her is going to be helpful, whether that's glyphs, whether that's just better gear, whatever it is, I'm going to try and do that. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at here as far as clan boss goes. So now I know what I'm doing, but those are going to be, seems like those are not quick fixes, right? Like I got to get the pieces, I got to roll it up, I got to make sure it all fits. And I'm looking for, you know, miracle pieces. I'm looking for the, you know, the god tier, the high level stuff. So while I'm going to continue to work on my clan boss team, that's not going to be my main focus. Another thing that's kind of limiting my clan boss is champions. I don't have better options right now. So until I get a better option, there's not going to be any significant improvement to my team. If I can get myself a Sandlash Survivor or a Godseeker Iniri, someone that does damage as well as extends buffs, and I can replace Valerie with them, that might be a significant boost to my team's damage. If I can get somebody like maybe even like a Draco and replace Venomage with that, that's going to be a significant boost to my damage, right? But I don't have that champion on my account right now. I have some options that are interesting, but not really anybody that's going to replace those. So I want to kind of keep that in mind as I'm going through, and I'm going to keep my eyes open for someone that can do that for us as well, right? But till then, Clan Boss is kind of stuck. So what is it that we work on next? And for me, I think the answer is going to be Hydra. And it might seem like that's a high level thing for you to do, but actually I think even low level players should be trying to do Hydra every single week. Now, I can't get the top chest, but here's the thing, I don't need the top chest on Hydra. I just need to get a chest on Hydra. Because if I can get a chest on Hydra, then I'm going to be able to continue to get Mithrala Fragments, who is an amazing champion and will help transform my account when we get her, right? And maybe it won't help me in Clan Boss, maybe it won't even help me that much in Hydra, but it'll help me in Doom Tower for sure. It'll help me in Arena for sure. It'll help me pretty much everywhere in this game if I let her. And so that's got to be, I think, my next goal is doing that, that part right there. And, you know, obviously I have champions for this. I've got some really good champions, actually, when we're talking about Ugo. And I think Jizzo's going to be really good as a provoke champion, the 2-turn provoke. If I get him going fast enough, and I have Elva, so I can do that, he's going to be extremely good at locking down that head of decay, which is really important, obviously, for continued damage. Garreg provides some sustain. Deacon's a solid champion, but honestly, I'm probably going to replace him from my main team, right? And bring in somebody like this, who I can't remember her name, Deliana. Deliana's a really good option to bring in. Not only is she another block buffs champion, much like Ugo is, but she also brings leech, so it'll help us to heal overall, and even has decreased resistance, which will help my team scale up as we get to the next level of Hydra. So I think this is probably my next focus. Now, am I going to be building 3 different teams? No, I don't have nearly enough champions to do that with yet, right? Not nearly enough. But I do think I want to focus the next champions that I do build up to make this team as optimal as possible. And look, Deliana's 50, Jizzo's 50, Ugo's 50. Those are going to be my next 3 6-star champions, almost guaranteed. After that, I can start focusing on some other areas, but those are probably going to be my mainstays, at least for the short term, in Hydra. And I'd really like to get that top chest so I can get some better gear, like stone skin, right? Like protection gear. That's an easy, free way to get some 5 and 6-star gear that's going to be helpful for your account. And then on top of that, I'm going to get more Mithrala fragments, and I'm going to get some more blessing shards too, which will be a good way to help up the, the damage and the potential of my team. So this, I feel like, is going to be kind of my next big challenge, is getting my Hydra team all set up and ready to go. And it's a big challenge, obviously. First off, I need to get these 3 up to 6 stars. Like, that's a big thing. After that, it's going to be about building them and getting them and grinding them out and trying to build that team up overall. Now, there is an argument to be made that shouldn't be my next focus. And I think it's a good argument, actually. I just don't know that I have the champions to really make that a good focus for me right now. And the reason why is I'm hitting level 20 on pretty much all my dungeons. And I feel like if you can hit level 20, you're doing great, right? That's where you want to be, right? It's a good pause spot. I don't have the gear. I don't have the champions to really push to the next tier, stage 25 dungeons, but 20 is great. I'm getting 5 and 6-star gear. That's all you want, because those are pieces that you can carry all the way into the end game. Maybe not the crazy end game, right? That a lot of the whales are at now, like my main account would be at, right? At this point, I'm not keeping any more 5-star gear on there. But, when you're hitting hard dungeons, maybe you can stop collecting 5-star gear, basically. But at this point, this stage 20 is great. That's really was my goal, and we're there, except for one dungeon. And it's that peculiar, stupid spider. This one's tough, and I'm stuck at stage 18. Can I get to 20? Maybe. But I don't think I can get there with the team I have currently, and I definitely don't think I can farm it with the team I have currently. What I think I need is one of two things. Either an HP burn champion, which I just don't have on the account. I don't have an AoE HP burn champion on my account, and that would make this a lot easier to do. But the other option I have is using Deliana. Because she has AoE attacks, they put out Leech, and I put her in a retaliation set. There's a good possibility that I can use her to at least get through stage 19 and probably stage 20. And I think if I can do that, if I can make that work for me, I think we're gonna things are gonna go a lot easier for my team. But that's my next goal, and so it does dovetail into what I want to do with Hydra. Now, if I knew I had, say, like a Mordecai on my account, that would 100% be my next focus, is getting through Spider 20, because those accessories are so valuable. You have them on every champion. Getting 5 and 6-star accessories is such a difference maker. And so 100%, that would be my next focus. But because I don't have that clear-cut choice, and because my unclear-cut choice is somebody I want to use for the other pieces of this game, I think it's going to work out really nicely. So right now I have Deliana in a retaliation set. It's just not built up yet. That does need to be my next focus. And I think it's gonna, you can see here, I got her in retaliation, right? We got some mixed stuff on here, but I do need to get her to 6-star first. Not only to get her to 6-star, but I would like to get, a banner for her. I need to get an amulet for her. I need to build her with some resistance for those spiderlings. Like, there's some work that goes into making this happen. But I feel like if I can do that, there's a lot of potential for me and my team to really make this a big addition to my squad. And I was so disappointed when I pulled her, but I think she's going to be actually key to taking my team to the next level. So that's where my focus is right now. And that's what I'm going to be, concentrating on. Obviously, my main focus is on the clan boss draft, which should be going on. I think we're actually drafting, by the time you see this, should be drafting today, or it was already drafted today when you see this. I'm not sure when this is going out, but that's going to be a big thing, right? But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see how this all works. I'm hopeful that it's going to work out really well for us, but obviously we'll have to wait and kind of see how things are going to go. And it's going to be still a bit of a grind. But I needed this video to clarify for myself what I was going to focus on next, because be honest with you guys, for the last week or so, I felt a little bit lost. I'm like, ooh, what is the next thing I'm going to be doing? So I think our next goal, we might be on the road to Hydra. I think that might be the next goal here, is riding the road to Hydra and seeing if we can't improve that Hydra team. It's kind of a longer term goal, obviously, but for right now, I think that's going to be my best place of focus. Does it mean I neglect Clan Boss? Not at all. I really want to improve that team too. I'm not satisfied with where we're at, but I think they can work in conjunction with each other, right? While I'm still upgrading some of the stuff I have on my Clan Boss team, I can continue to grind champions, grind chickens, grind food, so I can start 6-starring some of these crucial champions for the next stages of this game, right? Deliana is going to be my next 6-star, 100%. I need her. I just need her A1, really. But I'm going to need her desperately for Hydra, but I'm also going to need her desperately for spiders. And I think that's going to be a huge coup if I can get her to work for that. Can I? I don't know. Never tried that before. It's going to be a new thing for me. We'll see how that goes, but that's got to be my next 6-star. And then we're talking about Ugo. We're talking about Jizzo, champions that I think are very valuable for my account, but I'm not quite sure exactly where they're going to be going. Now, obviously, I'm skipping the fusion, which is, you know, a little bittersweet. I wish I could do it, but the requirements are just too high right now for my account here. I need to be taking down Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare every day, probably for about a month before I feel like I can build up the resources. I also want to feel like I have the champions where I don't need to pull shards all the time. I get a little impatient sometimes. I pulled 2 sacreds the other day. It was for a video I recorded and then it had no sound. So I was like, well, that's useless now. But I pulled 2 sacreds and I got nothing. Right? I got like gory, I think. So a big waste. And I think I got a second Mistrite or Daihi. I'm like, great, thank you. Bit of a waste. But the whole point of that is that I want more champions that are going to be impactful on my account. But I think I have enough to do these 2 things that I want to do, right? Still collecting those fragments for Drexstar, so we're still building up that, but that's going to be a little bit of time, right? That's not a right now thing. That's a later down the road thing, right? We're about a third of the way through. So I've got some time to get there still. But once we do, I think that's going to be a huge addition to my account. So there's still some things that we're going to be doing and focusing on, working on along the way, right? Still got Doom Tower stuff going every time, you know. I mean, there's still stuff we're doing to grow, but I think the focus now, need that. And I think it's going to be Hydra. And I think it's going to be that spider team. I think that's going to be our main focuses going forward here. So that's what we're looking at right now. Thank you guys for sticking around to watch this. I hope you're enjoying the draft. I'm really excited about that. I hope a lot of people are going to come by and participate and watch that. I get a kick out of it. I like it. So even if nobody does, I'm going to have a good time. And that's the whole point. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for sticking around and watching all this. Oh, last thing. If you guys were interested in my previous Clan Boss team, the one I'm running, we actually have an article on the website about it. So it's on there talking about my White Whale team that I'm using with like my specific speeds and stuff. Could be an interesting read. So recommend you go check that out. And yeah, that's all we got. So till next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.